Yeah, that's what it's doing to me.
And I can
Even after I
yeah, because I know.
Do we need the mic?
yeah, if you do. People at the back.
But if we do come in,
You're nice, by the way, back. You're nice. 4 viewers.
Morning, everyone.
morning.
Morning. Welcome. Good morning, and thank you for all being here. I'm Beck, and I'm an IA parent. Someone messaged me this morning, and they said Happy IA Day, and I thought, you know what, you're right. This is the start of things here. 1 in 5,000 UK is very much the start of things for us in the UK in bringing awareness and breaking down barriers within the IA community, well, not within the community, but within society. So it leads me to introduce us as the Organising Committee. So we'll start with, well, I'll hand you over so you can say.
I'm Jon, I'm Max's father. We were involved with IA.
Cassie, his mum.
Colin, father to Eric, IA warrior.
Hattie, mum to Jasper.
Ed, dad for Jasper.
So I'll just take this opportunity, obviously, to say that there's been a massive amount of fundraising for this event in memory of Max, and absolute gratitude to Jon and Cassie for their strength and determination through this, and obviously their love for Max, but also to share that and to bring this awareness to the community. So thank you guys, and thank you.
And we just wanted to say a huge thank you to all the professionals, all the experts by experience that have come today to help make this happen. You've come from far and wide. You've given up your Saturdays to make it happen, and we are really, really grateful to all of you. So thank you very, very much.
I've got a really dull bit. So the housekeeping stuff. If there's a fire alarm goes off, the fire exit's there, behind us here. With your mobile phones, if you can remember to put them on silent, just because we wanted the day to run as best it can. In your booklets, if you open up your booklets, the first page, I think, there's no page about Max, there's another page, there's your agenda for the day. As you can see, we're quite tight with time, so you could get the most out of today. We're going to try and run to these times. We're already a little bit late, so we're going to try and run to these times as best we can. So if you can be back from the breaks sort of on time, you can bring your tea and coffee in, so don't worry, your tea, coffee, cakes. Lunch will be at 12:30, and if your children are in the childcare room, you will need to pick them up and take them with you for lunch, which is in the restaurant, the main restaurant. We've got a buffet lunch on today. I think that's it. Yeah. Boring stuff. So that leads me to welcome Greg. For those that you don't know, Greg Ryan is the author of the it's The Secret Life, his book, and and sorry about that. And the founder of the 1 in 5,000 Foundation. So Greg's come all the way from Australia to be with us and to deliver this conference with us. So thank you, Greg. So you can come up.
G'day, how are you? I just thought it'd be easier to use a microphone so everybody could hear. Thanks for everybody coming. As the committee have advised, the work they've put into this has been remarkable over the last 4 months, from the initial conversation I had with Cassie about that we could bring the 1 in 5,000 aims vision to the UK. And this is the first time a conference of this type has ever been held in Great Britain, which is it's wonderful, but it's an indictment as well. And across the world it's the same. So I will start off. I've got a PowerPoint, but I'm not going to talk about myself, thank God. I'm going to talk about the foundation. right? So the 1 in 5,000 Foundation was founded in 2017. It came about when I wrote my book called A Secret Life Surviving a Rare Congenital Condition. I'd lived my life a secret with IA for 52 years, and then all of a sudden I found other people, and it led to my coming out. And I look back now and I think, my God, for 52 years I kept it the most close secret in the world. Now everybody bloody knows about it. So anyway, so when I wrote the book, I wanted to do something important with it. So I created, myself and a couple of guys in Australia, we created a foundation, which we called the 1 in 5,000 Foundation. So all the proceeds of the book goes towards the foundation. Nothing comes to myself or any other members. Everything goes to the foundation. In the 18 months we've been going, we've created the 1 in 5,000 Foundation Facebook page. Got over 750 members globally at the moment. We've got a research page, which is where we do some surveys or we post information of research from the clinical side of things. And it's the one page on social media that actually has the clinicians in it as well. Most of the people here and the IA parents would be in support groups where it's all discussions and that's strictly a parental or adult group. There's no medical professionals in there, which is good in one way because people can talk, but it's in another way it can be difficult because the people are asking for all this information, but they're not getting the information necessarily from the professionals. They're getting it from other people's own experiences. And the one thing we all know is anyone born with IA, there's not one of us the same. So that can be problematic from my point of view. So I wanted to create a group where we could mix the two. And that's what we did with the research group. And I'll show you a slide shortly about one of the things that we did by having the research group going. We've got Twitter and LinkedIn. LinkedIn for me has been really important because that's where I have the connection with the medical professionals. And it's really been important to share a lot of the things that are happening from a IA community, adult and parents, and that's where I use the LinkedIn site a lot. And we also created a website, 1in5000.org. It's a work in progress. Got videos in there, a lot of information, a lot of medical links to all the doctors who deal with IA. And we've got a lot of question and answers, but we're still building it. So that's a work in progress, but I would encourage you to all have a look at our foundation page. Okay, when we come up with the foundation, we wanted to make it something that was tangible. So, which I was thinking over and over and over, and it just come into my mind one day. I've come up with awareness, information, medical and support, which we call the AIMS vision. So it's the most important thing for the 1 in 5,000 Foundation. Everything is evolved around the AIMS. This conference is evolved around the AIMS. And as you can see, the awareness is a focus on the condition, but most importantly, not the individual. There's a lot of discussion about the privacy of who should know, who should know, who shouldn't know. So we look at it in the fact that let's focus on the condition, not the individual person. Education, understanding and acceptance. They're just catchwords, but they're exactly what we need. Information. Diversity of ideas. That encompasses everybody, because everybody has their different ideas. Some people want to keep things private, like me. Some people want to share with everybody else, and that's okay. Some of the adults want to keep it secret, but they want to be able to advise or relate their own experiences. So what by diversity of ideas means that everybody who has an opinion or what they think it is okay. Everybody can have their own opinion. That's why we just try to share it all. Services and sharing of personal experiences, that comes into the Facebook groups. On my website, I've got a thing where that you can, patient stories or adult stories, where people can just share their stories on there, anonymously if they like. But once again, it's an outlet where people can just express and read about other people's experiences. Latest research as well. The medical, all that looks after all the professionals. Clinical care, colorectal, urological, stoma care, incontinence, dilations, anything to do with the clinical side of what dealing with ARM is about. One of my most passionate things is transitional care for adolescents. The brutal reality is anyone that's above 20-year-old was abandoned after we left paediatric care. No, there's no other word about it. We were abandoned because there's no one's fault. The paediatric doctors, they can only look after us till you get to a certain age, when you get to 18. And then, but there was never anything being about what happens next. Unfortunately, the reality is the adult colorectal world have no idea how to handle us. They look at us, they say, oh, no, you're a paediatric problem. We say, hang on, mate, I'm an adult now, what do you want to do about it? What can I do about that? And it's a massive issue in the adult IA community. And thankfully that the clinicians of today are really looking at the transitional care, because it is incredibly important. Incredibly important. I can't emphasise how big it is. And that leads into the support section, which is the psychosocial and mental health support, peer support groups. In the past, once again, that hasn't been addressed adequately. It's starting to be addressed now. One of the things that I've done in the adult group, we did a survey about 12 months ago, whatever it is, and I did a simple question. Okay, this is not going to be easy to hear, but you have to hear it, it's real. I asked the adults, have you ever suffered from mental illness? Right, we've got 250 people in the group. 95% come back and said yes. Just think about that. 95% of the adults in the group had suffered from a form of mental illness because of their IA. So that's why the supports is so incredibly important from an early age. Peer support group programs. What we're doing at the foundation at the moment in Victoria, Australia, where I come from, we're putting a proposal to the government to get some funding to create a peer support group program where we have someone who gets employed by the foundation to educate other mothers or fathers to be a peer support for other people. At the moment, the only peer support we have is you go into the Facebook group and say, I'm having a bad day, can you help me? And that's good, but they're not, once again, it's not the experts, or there's no science behind it. So that's what that is. How's my time going? Awareness. Just to give you a rough idea of what we've done so far. The first edition of the book, we've sold about 1,500 copies. And amazingly, we've sold to about over 50 countries worldwide, which I find astounding actually. We've just released a new book, which adds an extra 40 pages to the group, to the book. One of it's a dedication to Max, which was very special for me to put in there. And another part of it was that there was an interview done with my mother after the book was released, and Mum spoke about her experiences. I actually found stuff that I didn't even know back then, and we've transcribed that, and that's in the book as well, and stuff that's happened since the book was released. We've currently got a doctor from Chile who has offered to translate the book into Spanish, so that's getting done at the moment, which is a marvellous thing. Last year, we had a Senator, Anne Urquhart from Tasmania in Australia, who read the book through a mutual friend of mine, and she actually was touched by the book so much she got up in the Senate Parliament of Australia and gave a 10-minute speech on the book and about IA-ARM. As far as we know, it's the first time ever that anyone, a politician, had spoke about our condition in the government. So if you're interested in looking at that speech, it's on the website. And I've just done a couple of more interviews on the radio and in magazines. It's all about, for me, it's all about getting the awareness out there. Okay? Information. This board talks about the website. So it's pretty self-explanatory what I've said about the website before. So when you get a chance, when you leave here, if you want to have a look at the website, I'd encourage you, because there's a lot of information in there. Medical. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to attend for 3 or 4 conferences over the last 2 or 3 years, and I've been able to establish a great network of leading colorectal paediatric professionals. And from there, I then have the trust with people. If people come into the group or ask if they know of anybody in a certain country or whatever, that I can refer them to these clinicians. I'm actually leaving here from here. I go on Monday to do a presentation at a conference in Denver, Colorado with Alberto Pena, who's recognised as the pioneer of the PSAP surgeries in ARM, and for me it's going to be a wonderful honour, because he actually learned from my original surgeon, Dougie Stevens, at the Children's Hospital. There's another, Global Ped Surge is another organisation we've been a part of. They're doing the world's largest cohort study on 7 congenital conditions, which includes IRM. And at the moment, they've got 1,700 collaborators from 150 hospitals and 110 countries with 1,500 patients. The person who is in charge of that, Dr. Naomi Wright, she's here tomorrow to actually give us an update on how that's going. So this is recognised as being one of the biggest cohort studies in the world of AOA. PCPLC, this is a consortium of the leading colorectal surgeons from around the world and globally, and we've got a relationship with them as well. So, and it's wonderful. And the medical, once again, I'm pushing the transitional care as much as I can when I talk at conferences, especially the medical ones. Support. For me, this is the most important thing of the aims, because this is the one we need to get right. All the others can be worked on, but this is the one that has to be done. Mental health services need to be on the same level as clinical care for IA and ARM kids. It's a big thing. It's not there at the moment, but it's getting there. And we're lucky to have some wonderful psychosocial people here today, psychology, to talk about the support session this afternoon, which will help. The parental psychological support must be recognised as a priority as well, because I know in my role as an advocate online, the amount of conversations I have with parents who just need some sort of validation of some sort or recognition of what they're going through, and I'm only an amateur. So the parents need to be helped as well. As I said to you before about the mental health situation in the adult community and the funding proposal that we've spoken about, so I've already gone over that. But a couple of minutes, I'm getting there. Okay, I said to you before, there's one thing I did with the research group. And I asked a question, give me one word, or as many words as you like, what would describe your experience as an IA parent or as an IA adult? And this is what's come back up. The difference is stark. Absolutely stark. Look at from the parents. Warrior, bravery, miracle, strong, determined, brave, rare, courage, hope, obstacle, strength, love. All how the parents see their child. Okay, now we go on the other side. This is how we see ourselves. There's some IA adults here today, and there's a couple of them who are going to be talking tomorrow. We look at ourselves, we think first thing that's come through is our unpredictability. We don't know what sort of day we're going to have until the day we wake up. I had a shocking day yesterday. Shocking. And I knew, that was self-imposed. I had to take extra laxatives and everything so I could try and have a good day today. That's our reality. Shame, embarrassment, accidents, isolating, PTSD, worry, struggle, anxiety, invisible, hidden. Totally opposite to what the parents say. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. This is not about this is more about making everybody aware of the challenges of living with IA's like. But for me, if I wanted to put one word, lifelong is my word. Because it's not a paediatric problem, it's a lifelong problem. And that's what I'm so passionate about with the foundation and the advocacy, is to make sure that everybody understands that it's a lifelong problem. I was told that when I was young, when I had my few operations, that I was fixed. Fixed is the most hated word in the adult community because we were never fixed. Last year, I was fortunate enough to meet up with my former surgeon, Mr. Justin Kelly, who looked after me from the age of 6 or 8 to 18. He's still alive, he's 80 odd. And the first thing he said to me, he said, "Greg, we owe you and your parents an apology. We told you were fixed, but we should have told you were as fixed as we could make you." That was for me, it was such a validating thing. We've branched out. We've got a French group. A young lady here, Jordan, she's running the French group for us. We've got the UK group with Beck and I. It's been speaking about having a group for a while. We've now got that group going, and we've got an African group going as well. So we're spreading the word. Okay, this is just some information about myself. But last of all, I just want to thank Cassie and Jon, Beck and Colin and Hattie. They have done an amazing job, honestly. To bring this all together, it's been an amazing job. The only issue is when we'd have conference calls, I'd decide to have them at 9 o'clock at night, which is 6 o'clock in the morning at home, and I'd be laying there like this. But it's fantastic. And the last thing is, it wouldn't have all been happening without this little fella Max. So I'm sure everybody will find this experience wonderful, and I'm just glad that you've allowed me to be a part of it. Thank you.
Hi everyone. What we forgot to do in the introduction bit was introduce you to the psychologists who are just going to set up the session for later on this afternoon. So just if you can be speedy, that would be really good.
We do have the slides somewhere. We can just talk through.
No, they've put hours on it. They've got psychology one.
We just put that one up, which just allows us to explain it a little bit better. The one that yeah, just that one slide is fine. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, so my name's Gillian. I'm one of the psychologists from Great Ormond Street. This is my colleague. Okay. Oh, I don't like these things. Last time I was on a microphone I was singing, so I won't do that for you. Okay, so my name's Gillian. I'm one of the psychologists from Great Ormond Street, and this is my colleague.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Arnold, also from Great Ormond Street. Nice to meet you all.
And we just wanted to give a 5-minute kind of introduction to the support session that's going to happen later on this afternoon. If I could just draw your attention to our fancy flip chart paper over the side of the room, you can see that we've drawn a timeline. We've labelled this our life because we're here as a community, we're a collective team of people, and we're going to share our experiences. The timeline is from pregnancy or birth, and it goes all the way up to adulthood. And we're inviting you throughout the day to write on some post-it notes above the line challenges that you face as parents of children with IA and ARM, and also challenges that you think that they might be facing as well. So we'd invite you to put it on a pink. So on here. Please ignore these colours. We've tried to do a little bit of a key up there. So on the pink post-it notes, if you can write the challenges that you faced. And then below the line, we're inviting everyone to kind of think about some of the tips, some of the things that helps them maybe overcome that challenge, or maybe it feels as though it's not overcome as yet, but maybe to help you work through that. And then you might share particular challenges with other families, and if there's some tips on there that you've tried for that particular challenge that you think may have not been captured but you want to share them, then we'd invite you to comment on other people's challenges and recommend your tips and things that you feel have helped you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, over the lunch period, we're doing it up until the lunch, aren't we?
Yes,
then, yeah.
Yeah,
you can complete them up until lunch, so you'll have up until lunchtime to put on your post-it notes.